What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's another episode of JohnnyVTV Live. We missed everybody. It's been kind of a long hiatus. There wasn't a lot of news going on. You know, we don't do NBA and nobody does NHL unless you're Kyle. But we got a lot happening right now, and we're so glad to be back. Join with me, my boys Nick Durst, Kyle Donnelly, and Joey Calz, who's becoming a regular of the show. How we feeling, fellas? How you been?
Well, I love that Joey Calz is becoming a regular on this show. That's some good stuff right there.
It's news to me, but excited to hear that.
Thank you for the warm introduction, as usual, my guy.
Yeah, really, from your own co-host. I mean, he's even giving you some props here, Nick. Come on, be a little more warm for him.
Kyle, I heard you finally learned your lesson from me and Johnny, which was if you're covering a Devils game, to eat some of the food in the press box and not buy $18 chicken fingers.
Yeah, correct. I have learned that lesson, but clearly the Rangers didn't learn the lesson of undermining their opponent last night.
Nope.
And let's talk about how the Devils absolutely just hammered the Rangers in the rock.
Let's not.
5 unanswered goals.
Johnny, cut him off.
We have all this stuff going on.
Johnny, cut him off.
Still have to talk about.
I muted myself.
Hey, excuse you. The only time you could talk right now, Kyle, is if you say we have a few tickets that includes the food package for Johnny, Joey, Nick. I mean, that's really the only time I want to hear you speak at this point because you're just rambling on about the Devils, the Rangers. Bro, nobody cares about hockey until we get to the playoffs. Like, I don't know why, you can't grasp that simple, elementary concept.
Kyle's the American nightmare right now.
Wow. Okay.
Great
one, Nick. Can we just get the football already instead of just ranting on about me?
We can. All right. Kyle, I'm glad you muted yourself because now I want you to unmute yourself. We're going to start off with you. A lot happening in the NFL offseason. It is absolutely drunker than a freshman in his first week in college with all these trades and pickups. So with that being said, what is your favorite move of the NFL offseason so far?
Well, at least in my own team, my favorite move is getting rid of Julio Jones. That is a great move for my team. I'm going to say that. I don't care. Look, it's a dead cap hit. I don't care what the receiver situation is. I like what I saw out of Westbrook-Ikhine. I want to see him in a more prominent role this year. Maybe, they go and draft a receiver that actually could stay on the field. But that being said, I kind of like what the Rams are doing right now and looking at acquiring Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner is a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best linebacker still in the NFL, despite a diminished skill set. He's simply just the best mind at the middle in the game, period, stop. That being said, he joins the Rams. This is going to be a tough defense to score on. I mean, my God, you got all-stars in all 3 phases of the defense. Aaron Donald, you got Bobby Wagner, and then you got Jalen Ramsey.
Bobby Wagner's not there yet.
I know. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch, but but it's being reported that the Rams are the ones leading the front right now, and that, as far as I'm concerned, is really dynamite news in the NFC West.
That sounds good. Joey Calz, hit me with it, baby.
I love my guy Russell Wilson going to Denver, and there was a lot of speculation about where Aaron Rodgers was going to end up. He ended up re-signing with Green Bay. He was linked to Tampa Bay. He was linked to Denver. So Denver does make a move for a quarterback. They made the move for Russell Wilson. And I think it's a great move because, number one, I don't really think they gave up any type of premium asset or draft pick in the trade. I think it was just a collection of potentially good players and good picks. You lose a talented player and Noah Fant at tight end, obviously, but the upgrade at quarterback coming back over Drew Lock is much significant. The AFC West is a much better division than it was a week ago, and we'll get into the other moves in a second. But I like Russell Wilson there because I think between Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, there's a lot of depth there. When it comes to skill position players, I think you put a quarterback like that with those weapons from day one, immediately the offense is going to get better. And the defense was pretty good. Teams are going to have a difficult time going into Denver and playing like usual. So I just think the upgrade itself is going to get them at least for low 2 to 3 more wins. And they were kind of hovering around 500 last year. So there are a lot of upgrades there. They're going to be very, very intriguing. And it's like I said, the AFC West is going to be a gauntlet this year. 3 of those teams got better. 1 today arguably got worse. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think the Seahawks are rebuilding. Good move for them. The window was shut, I think, 2 or 3 seasons ago. So Russ moves on. He goes to a contender. I'm not sure his wife likes that. His wife definitely had her eyes set on a bigger market, like New York or so, for her career. But Denver's a pretty good city, good sports town. They love their Broncos. Russell Wilson's a great fit there. Don't know if it makes them a division winner immediately. However, I do think it makes them a contender to kind of get out of the AFC, because I think overall that team is really talented.
Joey, also to your point there, if Russell Wilson wins them a Super Bowl, they're going to love his wife anyway, so who cares?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, listen, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the whole Russell Wilson. How much better does he make Denver now with the AFC West getting better collectively? Are they going to finally be able to push through? We're going to get to that. But, Nick, I want to hear yours first.
Guys, you're forgetting the biggest move of the offseason. The Super Bowl favorites got their quarterback back. Tom Brady unretired. Huge, tremendous. Take my money. Bucks going to the Super Bowl, going to win easily. Julian Edelman's going to replace Antonio Brown. This team is stacked. If they didn't play stupid defense, Kyle, what is that face?
It's gonna be Odell Beckham that replaces Edelman. Edelman's gonna be retired.
Odell Beckham Jr. is out till November.
I know, but that's another rumor mill. That's
all right. I mean, if they sign him, and then you're just making my point. But they're gonna win 14 games, maybe 15 games, get the 1 seed. Joe agrees. He knows they go in the Super Bowl.
That division is trash. Why? I mean, I don't understand.
The conference is trash, bro. The conference is trash.
No, not the conference. It's just the division. I agree with Joe. It's the division, but it's not the conference.
Ashpet. Here's what we got. First of all, you look at it down the line right now. Who do we have? Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. I said Chargers, Packers was my Super Bowl so long as Rodgers and Tay returned. Rodgers returned. I thought Tay was right there, but because of the way the general management, the front office of the Green Bay Packers has operated for years, they don't care about their players. Tay wanted out. Go to Vegas. Go play with Derek Carr as college quarterback. Next, we got Dallas of the NFC East, the likely favorites. I will never back the Dallas Cowboys so long as Jerry Jones remains the owner. They are choke artists. Mike McCarthy is the poster boy of choke artists. I can't back them, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Not for nothing, they let Amari Cooper go for pennies on the dollar. Idiotic. They put it behind Michael Gallup. Like, bro, give me a break. Not for nothing, this guy's still going to be out, and his status is questionable coming off a torn ACL. I don't want to hear about it. Next, you look at the Rams. Okay, fine. Like, Daddy won a nice futures bet last year, believing in them when nobody else did. Been there, done that. The Bucks, of course, they're going to look like the favorites because they're probably the most complete team, or the second most complete team in the NFC right now. So it's, Tom Brady, if I ever want to go pick a Powerball $500 million lotto ticket, I'm going to call Tom Brady to pick my numbers, because this guy is the luckiest, most fortunate player. And don't give me the luck meets opportunity and preparation. No, bro. Like, he has so many things go his way that nobody could even foresee, i.e. the Tuck rule. Anyway, Nick, I hear what you're saying here. I would say my favorite move of the NFL offseason, favorite now, is Matt Ryan to Indy. I'm happy about my boy. I really, really am. I watched him get drafted, turn this franchise around. He's been so disrespected for years. Finally goes to Indianapolis, where he has a shot to actually compete for not only the playoffs, but also a Super Bowl ring. Guys, I mean, you've seen what happens. It's so funny because over the last 48 hours, I've seen more positive news and support come out for Matt Ryan than I've seen for the last 4 or 5 years. Now it looks like he's got a legitimate shot, even in a loaded AFC. He's got a division. Kyle.
They're the dark horse. They're the dark horse. No, I agree. I honestly think that they are a problem for the Titans, because Matt Ryan's capable. You give him a good offensive line and Jonathan Taylor a good defense. That is scary. And if Matt Ryan could be efficient in what he did and catch lightning in a bottle, dark horse team, not only for my division, but for the entire AFC.
Exactly. So I love that. And listen, I'm not going to bore you guys. I'll spare you all the details about the stats and what he can do. And I still believe he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But all he has to be is a captain that steers the ship. Think about Russell Wilson early in his days in Seattle. Now, of course, Indianapolis defense is nothing close to the Legion of Boom, but they're a good enough defense. They got a great running back. They got one of, if not the best offensive linemen led by Quentin Nelson, and a strong defense with a good head coach in a division that's very winnable. Guys, why not? Why can't this happen for my boy Matty Ice? I want nothing but the best for him. I wish him all the luck. I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Colts. I have to say that's my favorite.
Well, let's not just real quick. Let's not just completely gloss over one of the bigger stories of the offseason, which was Deshaun Watson. As much as I might not like, what's going on around him and all that business, but yeah, let's call it what it is. Cleveland Browns go from, were they going to win their division to now they're the overwhelming favorites in their division.
I don't think so. Watson's going to miss 4 to 6 games. He's going to be.
You don't even know if he's going to play.
The Ravens are the favorites.
I honestly think he shouldn't play. He shouldn't play for at least a year, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, if Calvin Ridley is going to get a year for gambling,
look,
Calvin
Ridley turned into Michael Jordan 2.0.
As long as he's not betting on his own games and fixing stuff like Pete Rose, then you know what I mean. I don't care. If he's betting on another NFL game that he's not playing it.
All right, Kyle, you're killing progress right now.
Do you guys have a least favorite non-move of the offseason? For me, it's Daniel Jones being the starting quarterback of the Giants, because that's got 4 and 5 or 5 wins written all over it.
Now, you know what? Listen, hold on with that. Daniel Jones, I don't think he's the future, but I think for right now as a stopgap, let's not overlook this here. The Giants, as of right now, their today roster, their week 1 roster, if this is set in stone of what we see right now, is not terrible. They have pass catchers, they have an athletic quarterback, and they still got a pretty good running back, which I probably think Saquon Barkley is going to be dealt because they're not going to extend him because he's so injury prone the last couple of seasons. And, they're not winning anything this year, so you might as well get what you can for him before he hits the open market and you lose him for no reason. But I think, look at what Daniel Jones has to work with. Now that you bring in Brian Daboll as the man in charge, look what Daboll did for Josh Allen. Josh Allen was just a raw athletic quarterback with a big arm who could run when he needed to. And he wasn't much of a polished passer. Then you bring in Daboll over the last few years, he's really elevated him into one of the best quarterbacks of the game. Now, of course, Daniel Jones and Josh Allen are not the same, but it's the same principle that Jones could improve and be a much better quarterback. And you might be able to use him for the stopgap for the next year, maybe 2, unless you find a quarterback in free agency or in the draft that you really like and you want to go all in on.
Well, my issue is they could have found somebody this year with 2 first-round picks, and they didn't. I would have at least wanted to bring in Trubisky, let him compete to be the starter. Tyrod's going to play. He's not going to start. They got Shepard and Galladay. Those guys will combine to play 6 games. Daniel Jones will miss 6 games. So, I mean, this team's going to stink. But at least they're not the Commanders who traded for Carson Wentz.
That's my least favorite, I would say. Carson Wentz, he's useless. He's absolutely useless. And maybe it's not fair of me to say, I think he's mentally weak, bro. I think he's weak. He's not a guy, if I'm in the huddle, I want to look into his eyes and I see somebody that's going to take me down the field 90 yards to get this game-winning touchdown. He does not seem like that guy. He's a good athlete, and he's probably a good dude, but he's not it for me, man. Like how Tom Brady's fierce, you look into his eyes in the huddle and we're going to get this done. I feel the exact opposite about Carson Wentz. I think he's soft. I think he's mentally weak.
What about
maybe I'm not fair saying that.
What about the news of today? Sorry, Nick, but let's get to the news that that dropped only a few hours ago. Is Tua Tagovailoa going to become better now that he has Tyreek Hill at his arsenal? Well,
Tyreek Hill, Joe, what is he best for? Going deep. And right. Tua can't throw deep, so I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, so to add to that point, Tyreek Hill does run a significant portion of his routes underneath too. So the combination of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is really good. It's one of the best 1-2 combinations in the NFL. However, with that being said, I think there was a lot going on outside of what's happening on the field with the Dolphins in this offseason. So I'm not going to trust the fact that they traded for Tyreek Hill to fix all their problems. I still think there's a lot going on with that team, and I don't really. And I'm gonna couple this into the point because we finally get to talk about the Davante Adams trade, and we can talk about the returns that each player got in a minute. But for me personally, I've just never seen a trade for a big time wide receiver that's ultimately ended up working out for the team that traded for the wide receiver. And I think this happens for a variety of reasons. But I think if you're going to do it, I think you have to draft from within, because I think the combination of getting the quarterback and the wide receiver within, you're shaking your head. The Bengals did it with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They got
Excuse you. Hold on. I was shaking my head at the mere
Rams
fact
drafted
you said
Cooper
trading
Kupp.
for wide receivers don't work.
I don't think it works. The Rams drafted Cooper Kupp and they had Robert Woods.
Case in point, my friend. They traded for him, and in the package.
Okay, one time out of how many years? Randy Moss never worked. Antonio Brown never worked. Odell Beckham never worked.
Antonio Brown did work. Trading for Antonio Brown worked. They won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl. What do you mean? He was a huge
for the Raiders.
And he didn't play a game. And they got caught. He started the Patriots, got caught.
That's true. It was a trade to the Raiders.
In all fairness, though, it does work. Maybe it doesn't work that often, but it does work.
I mean, it's a worthwhile for the Raiders. I think it's a worthwhile shot because you have a guy like Derek Carr there, who I think most people now, after seeing what he did this season, with everything happening with Henry Ruggs and John Gruden getting fired under the circumstances that he did, I think people watched Derek Carr, what he did this season and how he played in the playoff game against the Bengals, and they said to himself, you know what? That's a good player. That's a really good team leader. They went out and they got Chandler Jones to put opposite Max Crosby, so their pass rush is going to get better. So that's going to make the defense better. So in their case, to trade for Davante Adams to get you somebody who's kind of automatic, I think it'll help them on the field. I don't know if it's going to help Tua in Miami. So,
by the way, the Packers, they better sign Jarvis Landry because I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, Johnny. That's what I'm hearing about Beckham. Beckham may go to Green Bay too.
I thought he was going to go there in the middle of the season. He was the big difference maker for the Rams.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could get those guys during the season. They'll have a big difference maker. But in terms of unloading the assets, I think for a wide receiver, I think it misses more often than it hits.
And how about Johnny's guy, Robert Woods, getting dealt?
Bobby trees to the Titans, man. Kyle, I'll let you go in a second because I know you like this. I think it's a great move. As long as Woods is good coming off of his injury, I think he's going to be good. He's going to be a great compliment to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's the big play, one-on-one, 50-50 ball. He wins 80% of the time guy. And Robert Woods, who, by the way, not only is he a target monster and a receptions monster. Before he got hurt last year, he had 3 straight seasons with 86-plus catches in the Jared Goff offense. The thing about Robert Woods, they loved in L.A. to use him in pre-snap motion. That's how they got a lot of these matchups that they want. Now, I'm not sure if Mike Vrabel and the crew are going to be doing that in Tennessee, but I think he's a perfect complement. He's a guy that I think is going to work very well with A.J. Brown. The one thing that concerns me, fantasy-wise, I think Woods might be in for a little bit of a hit just because there's going to be a little less targets to go around. But Ryan Tannehill, he's just, I think, too much of a one-read quarterback. If it's not there, he's going to run or he's going to do something stupid with it. And that's the one thing that concerns me, whereas Matthew Stafford, he could sit back there. If Kupp's not open, then he could throw to Woods or he could throw to Odell or whatever the case is. But that's the one thing that concerns me. I do think overall it is a good move. Kyle, what say you?
I think it's a good move, especially being that Julio Jones didn't work out the way that we wanted it to. And, we get a solid guy, solid guy in Robert Woods. Now, clearly he doesn't have the ceiling that Julio Jones did, but he's like we've talked about on the show numerous times. The guy's just a solid veteran. He brings it every single week. I like that grittiness about him. Hopefully he comes back healthy from the ACL. Obviously, if this was like 25, 30 years ago, he probably wouldn't come back just simply because of the way that medicine has worked out with surgeries and whatnot over the ACL. So hopefully he comes back as close to the Robert Woods as he was before. And this is going to be a dangerous Titans offense if that's the case. Now, the problem is we're not going to get him to week 6 or 7 because of when the injury happened last year, Johnny, if I'm not mistaken.
It's in that ballpark, yeah, depending on how he recovers. So
right.
I think it was more along the lines of week 9.
Okay, but my point, it's in middle of the season. It's in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
The Titans are going to have to get by the first 8 games or so without him. So they're going to have to figure it out. Like I said, Nick Westbrook-Akeen, I'd like to see him in a more prominent role. And then when Robert Woods works his way back, maybe you could work those 3 in a nice combination. But I don't think that they're going to do a lot of what you were saying, Johnny, with the motioning of Robert Woods to get their matchups, because that's just not how Tennessee's offense is run. They're a very lineup right at you. And if they're going to motion anybody, they're motioning a tight end or a fullback. And they're putting them across the formation like that. They're not really moving wide receivers around left and right all that much, because that's just they're a lineup and run right at you kind of offense.
Yeah, that was the Arthur Smith philosophy, and I wish he stayed in Tennessee and didn't come to Atlanta.
Well, Arthur Smith left and went to Atlanta, and they still kind of did the same thing this past year. So
yeah. So guys, let's take a look here. I know we have a lot to go. The free agency still is not concluded. The draft hasn't happened. We haven't seen teams in summer camp.
I was at the site of the draft last week, by the way, and it's going to be absolute madness there.
Wait. You sent me a picture of a hotel or was it a restaurant with my last name on it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, the Venezia Tower at the Venetian. Yes. I can't believe you didn't know about that.
I was going to ask you how to pronounce your last name.
Venetian name is royalty.
It is royalty, bro. I'm the Italian style.
If you went there and to check in, they'd probably put you in the suite because they'd think
oh, I would demand it. Oh, I wouldn't settle for anything less. Johnny, they're gonna be like, I'm sorry, is your name on the building? Yeah, actually it is. Go look outside. Thanks, bud. I'm staying in the presidential suite, kid, Your Honor. Oh, no objection.
Go out there for the draft. Have NBC Sports Edge send you out there.
I need them to, bro. You ever see Bridesmaids? Like when Kristen Stewart is in the first class, or Kristen Wiig's in the first class, she's like, "Help me, I'm poor." I feel like that's me right now. I need a nice boost here, a little raise to get me out to Vegas, have a good old time. But guys, so with all these acquisitions, I'm curious to hear your takes on who you think is the favorite, or who do you like to win the AFC and NFC conferences if you had to make a decision today. And I want to compare them to closer to week 1.
Dibs
Nick,
on
I'm going to
last.
start with you. Yeah, Nick, I'll start with you.
All right. NFC, going with the Bucks. I'll give you my NFC title game, Bucks-Rams. I think rematch.
You're really going out on a limb there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pick the Cowboys.
Don't hurt your back from stretching.
I'm not going to pick the Packers. You want to pick the Cardinals? I can pick the Cardinals.
He's picking the chalk. How did
that work out for you last year? How'd that work out for you?
It worked out pretty well. I said they go to the playoffs, and they did.
Yeah, they got smoked in the first round. So,
yeah, well, DeAndre Hopkins was a big difference maker. In the AFC, I do like your Chargers, but I'm going to go with my Bills. So I'll stick with the Bills for now. I think those are the 2 best teams in the AFC.
You're just never going to learn your lesson on the Bills, are you? Joe, come on. Joe, straighten them out, Joe. Straighten them out.
All right. So if we're going to incorporate gambling odds into this, because you are a gambling show, right? As of right now, the Chiefs are plus 450 to win the AFC, and I don't really know how their odds haven't changed since all of these moves. I really sincerely think they might have taken not 1 step back, 2 steps back, and a lot of other teams are loading, so I just don't know if their odds should really, really be that high. I mentioned Russell Wilson at the top, big Broncos guy this year, plus 850 to win the AFC, plus 1,600 right now to win the Super Bowl. And I think if you're going to target what the Rams did last season by getting Matthew Stafford and doing what they did, we mentioned the Colts. Plus 1,400 to win the AFC, plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl. But if you're looking at right now, maybe those 2 or 3 teams that are not at the top of the conference, like the Bills, I really like that Broncos team for some reason. I don't know. I just feel it. I like their defense too. I think Surtain's a pretty good player. I think Bradley Chubb's a pretty good player. So, and then in the NFC, I mean, it's a slightly boring pick, sure, but I'm going to be with Nick here. I'm going to go with the Bucks. I just think the fact that they're going to have a cakewalk through the NFC South is going to be so important for them. The Falcons, 2 wins. The Panthers, that's another 2 wins. And then the Saints, at best, you split with Brady. That's probably 6-0 in the NFC. How do you not see them getting to 15 wins, and how do you not see them hosting every game that they're going to have throughout the whole postseason?
Number 1 seed, right?
Number 1 seed. I think it's going to be very hard for them not to be the number 1 seed. And at that point, you're going to look at a situation where you're going to have either Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay or Matthew Stafford and the Rams going back into Tampa Bay and trying to beat them. I don't know if that's going to happen again. And I don't know if it's like, I mean, I have confidence that
I don't understand why Kyle's agreeing when before I said the Bucks are the favorites. He was like, no. Make up your mind, Kyle.
Because it's making more sense to me now as we're talking about this, and that's why I wanted to go last.
Listen, I love respect Brady. I don't want to see him do anything anymore. I'm tired of him. But logistically, it's gonna be really hard for anybody else in the NFC to do it, right? So that is my opinion about that. But if you're looking for value, the last 2 teams that hosted the Super Bowl, their team played in the Super Bowl and they won the Super Bowl, right? This year, the game's in Glendale. It's going to be in Arizona. So, if you're looking for a little bit of value there, then we'll look at the Cardinals at plus 2,500. But right now, if I had to pick a Super Bowl, it would probably be the Buccaneers and the Broncos.
All right, here's where I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench into this.
Titans and who?
No,
else?
I'm not a homer.
He's got the Jets. He's got the Jets go to the Super Bowl.
Stop. Let me
All
get
right,
there.
let's hear it.
Denver obviously is a very good choice. I like them to be at least in the picture. I also like New England to be in the picture, but I don't think they'll get to the title game. I just think that they can make a decent run in the playoffs. Get wild card and then maybe make a good game in the divisional round. I think your AFC title game is going to be Colts and who did I just say first? Wow. Why am I drawing a blank?
Denver?
Long night. Yeah, Denver. Sorry. It's going to be Colts Denver in your AFC title game. And I really, honestly, as much as I hate to say it, I really like Matty Ice going to the Colts. And I think that's going to make them
Don Julio coming home about Matty Ice.
And you know what? Wouldn't that be something? That's probably
Antonio
going to
Brown
happen too. In the mental ward. The mental ward.
Award.
The mental ward.
When I'm looking at the AFC, I see 4 teams, right? I see the Bills. Okay. The Bills, they haven't broken through yet, but the pedigree to get there is there.
He's got the Bills number 1 too. This guy's
they're up there, but they haven't done it yet.
The other teams I would look at would be the Colts.
There's only one team who's done it, the Chiefs, Colts, and they're not going into the playoffs.
So the Bills, the Colts, I think are true contenders. And I think with all the offseason moves that everybody has made, I really think the Broncos and the Chargers are going to be right up there, finishing 1-2 in the AFC West. So
I'm going to kind of put the Chargers in that same ballpark with the Bills. Until I see them do it, I'm not going to buy into them. So you know what? The Chargers kind of
they were still
I'm throwing them away.
Give us your NFC team.
NFC is going to be a bit of a shocker here. I do like the Bucks at home. That the more that you guys are spelling it out, the more sense it makes. I know you're right. Okay, how about that one? Just so I could gloss your egos. Because six wins in the NFC South is going to probably put them in first place. But I like a dark horse here to get to that NFC title game, and it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. Because
if you didn't stop talking, I was going to say that.
That's not a bad.
I was going to say that.
Logic.
Because I do not think that Aaron Rodgers will get back there. The magic has gone out of Green Bay. And let's face it, the NFC West, they're going to probably all beat themselves up. I think Minnesota could get through it healthy. And if they get through it healthy, they're a dangerous, dangerous team, especially in that building. And if they can somehow work out a 2 or 3 seed, So I like them to go to the title game, but I don't like them to beat Tampa in Tampa. Tampa in Tampa, as we saw with the Rams game in the playoffs this past year. Wow, that is a tough team to beat.
So in about 30 minutes, we changed Kyle's opinion.
Yeah, you did. Because I don't know if I want to see Tom Brady keep winning. I mean, it's just like, can I get another? But it's just like you think about it, and it's like, okay, who really can do it?
Right.
Who really can do it?
All right, Kyle. All right, I hate the fact that you absolutely just phone's ringing. I hate the fact that you took my dark horse in the NFC. I don't think it'll happen, but the but the way the NFC is structured right now, I think there's a legitimate shot that the Minnesota Vikings could be there. I had to give it some thought. They had Danielle Hunter along with Zadarius Smith as a pass rush. If they boost the secondary with the corners, yeah, they're gonna be tough. But I mean, I guess NFC as of right now, I hate to say I'm laying with the chalk. I guess it's going to be the Rams, Bucks. They're easily the best teams. They got the quarterbacks.
Way to go out on a limb.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know, right? Go on. Yeah, it's not like I just said the same thing.
For 30 minutes to convince Johnny too.
But but who else would I pick, right? And then in the AFC, Colts, Chargers, man. Colts, Chargers. I was on the Chargers. I told you guys. You guys know that I'm a psychic. I could see the future. I'm a wizard. Basically, a few days, a week after I cashed my Rams preseason future Super Bowl ticket, which was my second in a row, by the way, I had a vision, right? Here's the vision. Justin Herbert on the podium with the Super Bowl MVP, his baby face with the hat forward. Chargers win the Super Bowl. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to get the Colts and the Chargers. Matt Ryan changed the complexion of the AFC because if you really saw how it worked, dude, the Bills are so overrated. I don't understand why people think they're so good. Their defense is not good. Yeah, they added Von Miller, but so what? If you look at it, their biggest loss is Brian Daboll. I want to see how this offense works without the engine that ran this great offense. Josh Allen, like I said, he improved so much over the last 3 years, largely because of who his offensive coordinator was. They don't have a great running game. They right now have one wide receiver, Stephon Diggs. They just added Jameson Crowder. Sure, that was cool. We can't rely on Gabriel Davis on a weekly basis just because he caught 4 touchdowns against a really bad defense in Kansas City, in the playoffs. I think by default, it's going to be that. In my opinion, the Broncos, they're probably going to be a 10-win team. I need to see more from them. I don't believe in Russell Wilson. I never have. I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks all time of the last 15, 20 years. No question about it. And, like you guys heard me say, I was a big Chargers believer before Khalil Mack, before J.C. Jackson, before all these moves that and acquisitions that they've had. So I'm going to roll with it. That's how it is as of right now if I had to put a ticket. But unfortunately, man, so much value got sucked out of the Chargers that there's not a huge advantage of laying the number right now. I probably would lay something in the summer at some time just to get a bet down, just to get a base down, a little taster. But that's where I'm looking at as of right now.
Don't put the Patriots out to pasture, though, man.
I will, though. No, but I'm going to. That's what's going to happen.
It's the Bills' division to lose.
I'm going to do that. And as
the
far as
Bills could do it if everything goes wrong, being that Brian Daboll ain't there. Just like Johnny said, what happens if it really?
You guys are putting too much into a coach with a great quarterback.
I don't think so. I think you need to go back and check the facts and check the tape because Josh Allen looked like an absolute moron, a guy who nonstop would get the yips. Hey, bro, Josh Allen was he's
a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Josh Allen is the John Lester. Is the John Lester of the NFL. He could. You guys not remember John Lester? He couldn't throw to first base later in his career. He got the yips. He would just sail a ball 7 rows into the stands.
That's true. He never would field a bunt. That's very true.
Yes. So Brian Daboll means a whole lot. Let's relax here with your smart mouth.
I think you got to relax on your Josh Allen hate.
I'm not hating on Josh Allen. I'm just pointing out the mere
You're not hating on Josh Allen. What were you just saying in the last 30 seconds?
He does have the yips. It's not hating on him. It's like a fact. But in any case, that could wrap up our NFL talk for today because
thank goodness.
our favorite game is coming back, boys. We've got MLB right around the corner. Hello. Nick, kick us off here. We're going to go with the American League today, kicking off with the NL, the National League next week. Give it to me. Who do you like to come out of the American League this year?
Well, the team I like is obviously the Blue Jays at plus 500. Joe agrees, but the best value bet has got to be the Rays at plus 650. I mean, they're going to be there.
All right, goodbye, guys. Have a great night. You just took what I was going to say.
I mean, how do you not go with those two teams? I think the Astros, maybe they'll win the division, but they They're not going to be as good anymore. They lost Springer. They lost Correa. We'll see what Verlander could do this year off the injury. Yankees, no pitching at all whatsoever past Cole. Cole stunk in the wild card game. The White Sox, we really believe in them. No, we don't. And the Red Sox, they have starting pitching issues as well. So right now I'd say Blue Jays are my favorite. And I would say the Rays would be the team I would bet on just because the value is so great there at plus 650.
Joe, what do you think?
I think the Rays are going to go to the World Series. I think last
Guys,
year.
hold on. Let me remind you, just so you guys remember, Tyler Glasnow was likely to miss the entire season because of Tommy John, because of terrible management and decision-making last year.
I don't think that matters. I think they'll figure out a way. They know what they're doing down there right now. They're a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
If you really, really want a really absurd value play that I actually like,
don't you dare take the one
Mariners. I like the Mariners at plus 1,400 to win the American League. I'm sorry.
Johnny's guy, Jesse Winker.
Sorry.
That's my guy, Jesse Winker. Why is everybody taking my thoughts today? Everybody's reading my mind.
They lost Kyle Seager.
Is that such a bad thing? It probably makes for a better show.
But you know what, Johnny? We agree on this. The floor is all yours. Why should we like the Mariners at plus 1,400 to win the American League?
Okay, so if you're actually at PointsBet, let me just do a quick refresher here to make sure the odds didn't change. And they did not. Okay, here's what we got. First of all, the Toronto Blue Jays, I love Toronto coming into the year, even before the addition of Gold Glover, Matt Chapman holding down the hot corner. Realistically, Toronto, even in a tough division, they have legitimately a case for 5 guys that can hit at least 25 home runs. Sure, they lost Marcus Semien. That's a big loss. But look who they replaced it with. Matty Chapman. Hello. I absolutely love that addition. Vladdy Jr., he was my dark horse MVP last year. I'll die on that hill. He should have won the MVP in 2021. He didn't. I think he's going to have a repeat performance. And they did lose Robbie Ray, the Cy Young, who was a pleasant turnaround. And I said it how many times last summer that the Diamondbacks are missing this version of Robbie Ray. They must have been sick. But they replaced him with Kevin Gausman. He's a guy who I'm not 100% sold on. He had a renaissance year last year with San Francisco. I don't know if he's going to be able to repeat it, especially in an unbelievable top-to-bottom division, minus the Orioles. Toronto's the obvious one. The dark horse was the Mariners, and here's why. Much to everybody's surprise, including my own, they were off the charts last year. They were a 90-win team in the 90-win ballpark, which I couldn't believe, like most people. And they didn't have a true superstar. And a lot of people were upset that they weren't buyers at the deadline because they were close. Now, heading into this year, they have pretty much the same lineup they had last year. But, by the way, they added Jesse Winker, my boy from Cincinnati, along with Eugenio Suarez. For those of you that don't know, that don't really watch a lot of Reds baseball last year, those are 2 guys that could easily, no question, combine for, on the low end, 50 home runs in the middle of a lineup. That includes a good defensive shortstop and a good player, J.P. Crawford. You got a guy, Jared Kelenic, who's pretty young. Mitch, they still got Mitch Haniger, Ty France. They got a lot of unsung guys that are going to be threats. Not to mention, Robbie Ray is now at the top of that rotation. The one big loss, I would say their biggest loss, is Kendall Graveman out of the bullpen. That's going to be their biggest. That's going to be their biggest one. But I still think they're going to be more than okay.
And also, they resigned Sergio Romo.
Yeah.
So that'll replace some of the innings that they lost with him.
And also, the A's are going to suck. So that's an extra.
A's are going to suck. The Rangers are going to suck. The Astros are still beatable. They lost Carlos Correa.
The Astros won't be as good. And the
Angels, bro. I love the Angels because I want to see Mike Trout win the ring. But
start calling Anthony Rendon because this guy, he's toast.
Johnny, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
95 wins for the Mariners. Is that doable? They won 90.
That's doable. That's more than doable.
And if that's doable, that means that they're going to get in the playoffs, right?
Yes, that is more than doable.
7 playoff teams, they got to be in there.
I like doing a futures ticket on the Mariners. I don't see why not. The AL West is wide open. They could definitely threaten the Houston Astros for the division. And honestly, they're about plus 450, plus 500 to win the AL West. Why not, guys? Why not? Kyle, the floor is yours, my friend.
Honestly, I'm gonna go a little offbeat here. I'm gonna take the White Sox. I kind of like them because think about it. You know what? You can shake your head at me all you want, Nick. Look.
I like it. I like it. I want to hear it. I like it.
Yankees aren't gonna get it done as far as I'm concerned because you got a better Blue Jays team and a better Rays team because the Yankees, as far as I'm concerned, just they're not the Yankees of old where you fear them from.
Yankees are the fourth best team in the division.
Exactly. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thank you for making my point. Anyway, the Astros, like we said, they're losing key pieces. Are they going to be as good? No, but they'll still probably win the AL West if I had to guess. They're just probably not going to go anywhere in the playoffs just because they're depleted this year. Yeah, I like the White Sox simply because what are the Twins going to all of a sudden become world beaters because now they got Carlos Correa? I mean, we've seen how these bigger contracts work out for these smaller market teams. It doesn't necessarily work out. And then
3-year deal with 2 opt-outs. He won't be there the whole time. But the White Sox will be in the playoffs, of course. But I don't think they beat the Braves or the Blue Jays.
My problem with the White Sox is they have the stench of the team that beats up on a bad division and is really not as good as everybody else thinks.
As everybody else. And that's fair. That's fair. But you know what? I want to try to go for some value here. And
I
do like Lucas Giolito, though. I think if you need a horse to get you through the American League.
He needs to have a big bounce back here. He was terrible. It was really on the shoulders of Lance Lynn and Carlos Rodon last year, who, by the way, is now in San Francisco. Lucas Giolito, for a large part last year, was absolutely horrendous, and he needs to get back to being the ace that they were hoping for in order for them to have an actual shot at competing.
But I will say this. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Real quick. Giolito's final numbers last year were actually pretty decent, but it was due large part to a stronger second half finish.
Right.
Yeah, and you got to still remember they got guys like Juan Moncada on their team. Eloy Jimenez. They got guys that are just they're really good ball players, and they got a good lineup, man. So they're gonna win you 90+ games as far as I'm concerned this year. Being in a bad division now, like you said, Joe, they reek of a team that beats up on bad people. But if you go and win 90 games, and maybe everybody beats up on everybody else, or let's say the White Sox are good enough to actually get to be 100+ win team this year, then that puts them in the contention for a 1 seed. Then you got to go into Chicago and beat the White Sox in their own building. Then it changes everything around in the series. So I like Chicago this year, but also, I mean, I don't want to be the homer, but let's not sleep on the Red Sox if they get some pitching together. If they do.
Who's their closer again?
It's a huge if. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. It's probably that guy, Matt Barnes, that is a waste of a roster space on the 40-man. But anyhow, let's not go there. We got a valuable one on the 40-man just a couple days ago in Trevor Story, who's going to play.
And you got Jackie Bradley Jr. back, too.
Oh, God, I don't even know how. Look, that could be a good outfield move, but I don't think that's going to do anything at the plate. Obviously, it could work out on the base paths as well, but I wouldn't hold my breath. He's gotten older, but he could still get it done. But, obviously age.
But Story is a big sign.
Story's a great sign. I love that move for the Red Sox. And like I said, it solidifies their middle infield now. Now you got Trevor Story, who essentially plays as the Dustin Pedroia now for the modern-day Red Sox. And Xander Bogaerts playing at the shortstop, who, I just love what he does.
Let me say this about the Red Sox real quick. I do like the Trevor Story signing. You knew he was going to get big money. I want to know what Chris Bryant was thinking signing to Colorado when he could sign probably a lot of other places, knowing that they weren't going to contend and Story was leaving, whatever. But the problem I have with Trevor Story is I need to see how he does going from Colorado to Fenway Park. Sure, Fenway Park can be very generous to hitters. But if you check out career-wise Story's split stats, home versus away, it is night and day. He is nothing better than a maybe average hitter on the road as he was at home. It is dramatic. Average, slugging percentage, OPS. I mean, a lot of his power numbers were, at least early in his career, a lot higher at home in Colorado. But the Red Sox, man, the one thing that I think has to regress to the mean is they had like 33 to plus walk-off, game-winning, bottom 9, top 9 wins. Like that is just so unsustainable. They won so many games they should not have won last year, which is really what gave them the jolt to get into the playoffs. Their pitching, which wasn't even that good, bro. They lost Eddie Rodriguez. Like, who do they have right now that you could really count on? Like, maybe Nate Eovaldi, if he gets back to what he was last year, which is honestly pretty good. He was pretty good. I think they got Nick Pivetta as well. The Red Sox are still going to be a threat because anything can happen down the stretch. But ultimately,
just consistency from that rotation. That's what they need. If they get some consistency, look out. And to your Trevor Story point about home and away, if there is one division in baseball that could probably compare to home field for the Colorado Rockies, it's probably the AL East. Because let's face it, most of the stadiums in the AL East are bandboxes, with the exception of right field in Fenway Park. Because let's face it, that's a shot out there. And
pesky pole?
No, not the pesky. I'm talking about like out in deep right field, like the 380 shot to the bullpen.
The Orioles backed up their fences this year.
Finally, about time that they finally did that. But and then the only other one I would say that is probably more of a pitcher's park is it's the Roberts Center in Rogers Center in Toronto. Sorry, the Rogers Center in Toronto, which is obviously more of a pitcher's park.
One thing that I'm interested in as well, just thinking about it, is I want to see how the vaccination thing works out for the New York teams, for the Yankees and the Mets more particular, like who's not vaccinated. It's not as much like the NFL where we have a better idea, but I want to see what's going on with that in addition to all these other breakdowns. But for the most part, I think all the big signings have really taken place. There's not a ton of other guys that are needle movers that are going to be, left out there right now.
Conforto can make an impact depending on where he signs.
He's probably, I would say, if I had to guess, the biggest offensive threat that's still out there. But I honestly don't know if I see Conforto not coming back to the Mets. I mean, I
hope he does, but I see him going to like the White Sox, maybe the Mariners or the Phillies.
He's going to Atlanta. He's going to Atlanta
if he wants to play.
Dude, imagine him going to the Mariners.
That's a great fit.
Well, he's from up there, so makes sense.
Is he from up there?
He's from Oregon.
Is he? He's Italian.
He went to Washington. He went to Washington State for College World Series.
I didn't know there's any Italians in that part of the country. I wonder if he's a Medegon or he's a real Italian. But Joe knows what I'm talking about. Does he eat his Sunday gravy out of a jar, or does he, does he get up at 7 a.m.?
On the vaccination stuff, though, I don't know how the Yankees are going to do this year without Judge for 81 home games and then 9 games in Toronto. And the Mets are not going to do well without like Jacob deGrom pitching, because these are the people we're thinking at this point aren't. I hope something gets worked out, because it's really going to ruin the season.
Is Judge and deGrom unvaccinated?
What do you think, Joe? Me and Joe have some theories.
Is it no? Do you know this for a fact, or are you just guessing this?
Based on them being asked and declining to comment, we kind of figure that's the Mets apparently
they're putting 2 and 2 together and making 4.
The Mets only had 50% people vaccinated last year, and the reports are from like Joel Sherman and whatnot is like it's big names. So those are the 2 biggest names on each team. So it's got to be along those lines, I think.
Well, this is definitely going to be one to watch, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're definitely going to be tackling the NL next week. And speaking of the NL, Nick, bring us our Emerge Player of the Night, brought to you by Emerge Sports Group. Our boy Jahan, take it away.
Well, on the mound yesterday for the first time in a long time, Jacob deGrom, back from injury, didn't do too well. Only had 5 strikeouts. He faced 6. He pitched 2 innings. He only struck out 5. Unfortunately, he gave up a little pop up in foul territory to Alonso. Guy looked incredible. He's throwing, what he usually throws, and then funny moment in the dugout after the first inning where Scherzer said, "Why don't you go out there and throw a first pitch curveball?" deGrom only threw 3 curveballs last year. He threw it on the first pitch. The batter was like, "What the heck's going on?" So if DeGrom stays healthy with Scherzer, the Mets are going to try to Diamondbacks this thing with like Schilling and Johnson, because really, if these two aren't pitching 30 games each, with the teams winning 20 to 25 games in the games they pitch, the Mets have no shot.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. And,
love the Diamondbacks comparison too, by the way. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a fair point. But, dude, honestly, man, like, I really can't wait for the MLB. I haven't been this excited for baseball. This is probably one of the most exciting seasons for baseball that I've had in a very, very long time. I really can't wait for it. So,
because we almost didn't have it.
Really, bro, it's not taking it for granted. But usually,
big year from Frank the Tank too. This guy's going to be 30 home runs this year.
Or Frankie Swindell? I love it, dude. Yeah,
he's gonna be raising the roof in Chicago, right?
Yeah, man. I hope so, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can get him on the podcast. Before the season starts in roughly 3 weeks. He tweaked his back though, so I imagine he's probably just laying low, making sure he's right for.
You guys
day.
Hung out this offseason?
Dude, nah, man. We didn't actually get the chance to hang out this offseason, but hopefully.
Such a shame.
How about the pitcher we had on, like the other guy?
Karinchak? Yeah, I saw Karinchak.
James Karinchak, Wild Thing of the
Cleveland
Guardians.
I saw Karinchak in December actually when he came down to Tampa for a bachelor party, so we were just kicking it. Had a good time. But hopefully, when these guys play the Mets or they play the Yankees, be able to just call them up, and go see them, go out to the game, and we'll make a day out of it or a night. But ordinarily, this would be the time that I would do my Gambling Guinea's best betting trends, and I don't really have one that pertains for today. And the ones that I like for this week and the lines aren't out. But I will tell you what to look out for. I really love doing college baseball now, because I love baseball in general, and college is fun. It's way different handicapping it than it is handicapping the MLB. But the matchup that I'm looking for this week is going to be Ole Miss and the Tennessee Volunteers. SEC play has started this week, and it's going to be awesome. Ole Miss is the number 1 team in the country, and Tennessee Volunteers are, I think, number 5. Yeah, they're number 5 in the country, so it's going to be a big matchup. I would probably look at backing Tennessee on Friday. Typically, Fridays is when your ace pitches, and there's not much better than Chase Burns from Tennessee, the freshman. The kid throws gas. He's on fire. Absolutely love to back him, even against an Ole Miss offense that could light up the scoreboard at a moment's notice. But that being said, as wrapping up the show here, Joe, kick us off with your final thoughts.
My final thoughts. I was happy to see everybody again. Nice little reunion. Can't wait to do NL next week. I have a team I think that'll shock you guys. And we'll do a couple more follow-up episodes, and hopefully it'll be a good baseball season for the Yankees, because I'm a little dicey. Nick said they were the 4th best team in the division. I think they could be the best team, but still got a little work to do.
You're thirsting for another championship, aren't you there, Joe?
It's been too long. Only 12 years?
Only for a Yankee fan, 12 years. Jeez.
That's right.
What about you, Nick?
Well, just wanted to say, we had the Jets, Bucks, I'm right tailgate. Kyle came there. Johnny missed it. Johnny's back in the tri-state now. So we will see Johnny. We'll see Kyle July 9th, Citi Field. I'm right. Keith Hernandez jersey retirement game tailgate. See you guys there.
And it's Keith Hernandez. Oh, man.
Saturday,
that is
4 p.m. start.
July 9th is Saturday. Maybe, bro. Maybe I might be down the shore. I don't know. I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
I might be at DJ's.
So
I can't make the commitment.
You're asking the single Guinea man to give up a Saturday and go to a ballpark?
Oh, that's tough, man.
The problem with this is when he's down there, there's going to be pressure for me to be down there. And I mean, it's going to be fun, but I don't know if our livers are going to like it by the end of the summer.
I'm not going down the shore every weekend, so there's a possibility that I don't
you
go.
Say that. You say
Hold
that
on.
now.
No, bro. No. I'm going to be living in
Say that
Connecticut.
now.
I'm not doing the traffic. I'm back in office and all that. Are you doing a short house this summer?
No. Oh, that was a one-time thing. And one time was plenty.
Yeah, okay.
Plenty.
I want to know if
Trust me.
Kyle's
Bro,
going to meet
the-
you guys at
The
DJ's.
official slogan of the shore is one more summer.
I retired my drinking partying days a long time ago, Nick. As far as
What I
going
will
out to bars and whatnot, that's a long time ago.
What I
don't
will
do
say
that.
about Kyle, though, is him and Joe were having a football catch in the MetLife Stadium parking lot. You would have thought these two were warming up for the Super Bowl. They were going as hard, grunting as hard as they can, and then Joe made Kyle run like 100 yards deep, and he threw the ball 40 yards. So funny.
I love how this story is burned in Nick's memory because it's the second time he's told it, and he's got such a beaming smile on his face.
Well, we never had the four of us on the show, I don't think.
I think it's great. I think we need to definitely do that. Johnny, you need to get
bring the wiffle ball, Kyle. Get the wiffle ball. We'll play on they painted at the infield of the Shea Stadium in the park lot, spray painted. We'll play wiffle ball.
Game on.
All right, so I would say
hold on. Let me get my final thoughts in here because it's real.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. End the show.
Go ahead. All right, fine.
Jack Hughes.
Look, Jack Hughes played great. Look, I'm not going to talk about the Devils. I actually wanted to say that. Look, I wanted to say that I'm glad to see you guys again, but Johnny wants to be an ass about it. So let's just end the show. Go ahead.
No, listen, it's great to see you guys.
Like, seriously, like I'm enjoying myself, dude. This is great. Like I haven't done this in like I don't know how many weeks.
Whip out the Madden.
Look, I, honestly, to tell you the truth, dude, I haven't touched Madden since 2018 with Brady on the cover. I'm dead serious. I haven't played Madden like in a long time. Madden, I've given up on. EA Sports as a video game maker is terrible. That's another discussion as far as all that. But look, I'm glad to be on the show with you guys again, man. It's good stuff.
Joe, I heard Kyle is joining the William Regal Alliance or the Jericho Appreciation Society.
No.
Appreciation Society.
All right, let me get mine here.
Forget that. That's the lamest.
All right, let me get mine here so we can get.
See ya. Delete.
No, all right, let me get mine here so we get it. Like I said, I'm excited for baseball season, but let's not sleep on college baseball. We're putting out all my college baseball picks as well as for all my special guests here, for all my fans. What I have coming out is an article detailing all of the AL win totals, whether you're going over or under, as well as the awards and the NL. So I'm going to be doing them both. They're going to be released probably within the next week or two, way before opening day. I will let you know. It's going to go out on my Twitter. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. But really appreciate everybody joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Matt_JohnnyVTV. He's at Nick_Durst. And Joe is at JCalabrese1. Kyle doesn't have a Twitter. Thank you very much. See you next week.